Hey there! Want to learn how to easily set goals? Either you're setting goals with yourself or even with another employee? Hey there, and welcome back to the Work from Home series where I give you step by step advice, whether it's for your online career or your online business. Now, for the next 3 videos that I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about this book right here. It's called The 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard. And it's like the one book, it's like the one major book that I ask people who are becoming managers in our company to study. And it's because it's just so amazing. It's so easy to remember all the 3 things that the book teaches on how to become a better manager. Now, for this first video, I'm going to talk about the first thing that they teach, which is the 1 minute goal setting. Now, this is how to set goals with your employee, but you also can set goals, how you can set goals with yourself. So these are really quick ways of and it's called a 1 minute manager because it's supposed to be, really easy to remember and really easy to do once you have the system settled down. Now, whether you've already read this book or you just want a refresher, this is what I'm here to do. So the first one is going to be, when you're setting goals, set expectation. What does it look like when this is done? So that's kind of like the first question that you want to ask, whether yourself or the employee that you're working with. What does this look like when it's done? You work out that expectation with the employee. You look at what their capabilities are and what is the end goal. What is something, how can they say that this task is done? It could be as simple as really simple as, creating a spreadsheet where they track all of the things that they're doing. It could be as complicated as creating a whole system of like how to get a client maybe. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but you have to be clear what that end goal looks like. That way you both have the clarity of, this is already done, this is a success, this is done, this is finished, you don't have to think about it. So that's why it's the first thing. You start with the end. When you're setting goals, you start with the end. What does this look like once it's done? Now, after you have that set, after you've set, what does this task look like when it's done, you go to step 2, which is to have the person that you're working with or you're assigning this task to, or have yourself actually write down each of the goals, whatever goals that you guys have talked about, actually have it written down. Now, it doesn't have to be physically like on a pen and paper, but it's so much better when it is. As long as it's like a shared document, maybe on a Google Doc, or I usually use it with Evernote, or a lot of people use different tools, but as long as it's written down and both of you have agreed on it, that's the major thing. That's the thing that most people miss when people are giving out goals. Is it's just a one-sided thing. Like, I'm the boss, you just have to do this. It has to be a back and forth thing. It has to be that both of you agreed that these are the goals. This is the due date. That's another thing that's important. This is the due date. This is when it's due, or this is the priority level. So you have to both agree on writing down what the goal is, what it's the other like things that it has to be reached as milestones to be able to get to that point. Like I said, any due dates, any other details that have to be written down for that goal to be clear to both of you. And then the third thing, which a lot of people also fail at when they're giving out tasks, is follow-up. Don't wait until the deadline to ask them about it. Follow up. Check on them every day if you can. Just like a soft touch of like, hey, how's this goal doing? Is it still clear to you? Do you need anything? So kind of just follow up little, and then keep reminding them to check that piece of paper or that task list to make sure that they're always on track. Now, make it a habit for them. So that's why you're checking on them, because then, eventually when that person is more trained up, when that person knows what to do next, then you don't have to keep reminding them. It's always at the start when you have to keep following up, and then sooner or later they'll just know. It's just a habit then moving forward to always check their goal list. So that's why number 3 is to follow up, to see. Don't wait for the deadline to check up on them to see how they're doing. Try as much as possible to do small touches of like, hey, how are you doing? Is there anything that you need? How are you doing with the goal? Is there any questions? Is there a tool that I can give you? So like kind of like small touches, and kind of again reminding them to keep looking at that goal list, to kind of remind themselves like, oh, this is what it looks like when it's done. This is what it looks like if I'm going to submit this. It has to be matching, what we talked about. And then number 4 is going to ask, when you are doing these small touches with them is to ask them if what they're doing is still aligning with their goal, with their whatever they're doing. If, for example, let's say as a really weird example is, let's say the task is to wear a suit better, to look better when you're going to the office, let's say. But if they're coming into the office in sleeveless and no coat, or just wearing ridiculous outfits, then they have to check themselves. They self-check themselves, okay, is this actually aligning with the goal that I want? This is actually something I do want to continue doing. So creating that habit also of checking themselves against the goal, because you did, again, that's why it's important to do number one, you did agree to a certain goal, to agree to this is what it looks like when it's done. At the end, for example, the ridiculous example of having a suit, wearing a suit in the office, you agree that then they will look formal, they will look more professional at work. So you have to see if they are aligning themselves against the goal that you set in the first place. And then the last one, number 5, is to celebrate. If they've done their job right, if they finished it, then you celebrate it, and you see what are the ways that you can celebrate with them. They're giving them a small thing, making sure that they're praised, and then they feel good about themselves. Or if in the end they weren't able to meet the deadline, then you do just check up on them, okay, what went wrong? Is there something I could do right? Now those 2 things with celebrate, the first one is actually called a 1-minute praisings, and the second one is a 1-minute redirect. Both of those I'm going to talk about in the next video, so watch out for that. Being a manager is definitely not the easiest thing, especially since you are managing people who have lives, who have things outside of work, who is thinking bigger probably than what you're currently thinking. So you have to know all the tools, all the small things that you can start doing right now to make that process a little bit faster and easier for the both of you, not just for you, but for the both of you, for you and your employee. That was kind of it for this video. I hope that helped. I hope that helped you become a better manager and have helped someone else who is under you be managed better. Now, like I said, the next few videos that I'm going to do is going to be about 1-minute praising, basically how to give praises and how to make someone, how to have something stick. So when you're encouraging a certain behavior, and how to do a 1-minute redirect. So when someone is kind of off the rails or not doing what was agreed upon, how to handle that and how to deal with that. Now, again, I am Lacaba, your virtual ate. Ate in Tagalog means older sister, so I'm here to hopefully help you either start your own online career or starting your own online business. I hope this helped. I hope that this inspired you. If you like this video, please hit like right there, so I know that this is something that is valuable for you guys, that is something that you do like to watch. And leave a comment to let me know that you guys like this video, or what else I can improve, or any future topics that I can talk about. And if you guys have any questions, suggestions, or anything else, or if you want to book a free discovery call with me for 2XU, just email me at leanne@2xu.com, and I'll get back to you as fast as I can. And I'll see you guys in the next video.